Hello there, and welcome to the Paletteful Packs YouTube channel. My name is Alice, and I have the May 2021 Paletteful Premiere Pack here in front of me. So let's go ahead and open it up. Yay! Oh my goodness, I see watercolors. Okay, let's pull up the digital little card that we have that just tells us all about what we have in this box. Okay, so this is the Nicholson's Peerless Watercolors pack, and that's what I see right here on top, so I'm going to pull these out. Oh my goodness. So these are Nicholson's Peerless Watercolors, as I said. This is the Autumn Chew Artist Edition. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Please let me know. So this is the artist, Autumn Chew, and they have hand-selected all 30 colors that are contained in this set. So the ones that she decided to include are beautiful, and they should complement each other, and also her style. So Peerless watercolors are transparent watercolors, and they're basically these sheets of watercolors. They're made of paper-based film that allows the paint to be mixed and used like right off the sheet, and it won't disintegrate like normal paper. When you're done, you just let it dry. This has 30 vibrant, transparent, non-toxic, handmade and professional grade paints that you can take on the go. So they are all like this. How cute. And they have like the names on the back. Spotting black opaque, olive green, olive garden, mountain green. This is cool. I'm very excited to try these. Let's see what else we have in here. Oh, water brushes. Okay, cool. So these are by Marabou, and they're their Fluid Arts brush. There's going to be 3 of them in this set. There's a 5mm flat. Oh, I love when there's flat water brushes because they're so good for doing like backgrounds and washes. And then a 4mm round and a 3mm round. So you've got kind of like the whole selection here. It's like ASMR today. This is a little flat one. So cute. And then this is the first round one, the larger round one, the 4mm. And then this is the 3mm. So excited. Love that. I like that they're nice and long too, just because they have more balance in your hand that way and they hold more water. So, okay. I got excited last month about the gold gel pen, and now, of course, I'm excited about the white gel pen. Okay. Of course. I love this gel pen. This is like one of my favorite gel pens, as I said last month too for the gold one. But this Uniball Signo Broad white gel pen, these are awesome for adding highlights. They're so great. You can smudge them with like your fingers or even a little water on a brush. So very, very useful. And then we have a surface. Okay, so we have our little Paletteful sticker right here. And then under that, we have this big old pad of Canson XL Watercolor. This is 30 sheets of 9x12 cold press. It's 140 pounds, so decently thick. That was fun. Okay. Okay, so this is everything you're going to get in the May 2021 Paletteful Premiere Pack. We have the 30 sheet of Canson watercolor paper. We have 3 different water brushes from Marabou. We have the Uniball Signo Broad White Gel Pen, and we have 30 different colors of the Peerless Transparent Watercolors. So I am so excited to try these. I haven't tried the Peerless brand of this style of watercolor, and I just can't wait to dive in and do some swatches and make some art. So yeah, let's do it. So before I do the swatches and the art, I'm going to really quickly show you how to make an easy holder for these paints out of a simple plastic or paper folder that you might have lying around. So you just want to make sure it has like hole punch. Actually, you don't even really need to do that. You could just fold over some paper. And then I took some cardstock, figured out how many of these sheets I could fit on a piece of cardstock or chipboard, and it was 3. So I cut out 3 of these little rectangles. And as you can see, these are going to fit inside that little cover that you just made out of the folder. And I just marked right around where the hole punch was going to be with a pen. Doesn't have to line it perfectly, but the most important thing is just that it's around the same area. So I went ahead and hole punched all of my pieces of chipboard that I had cut out, and then they are going to line up with the cover. Then I figured out how many of the little paint cards I could fit. It was 3, so that meant that I needed 10 pieces of my chipboard. I cut those out, and then I just used this little ring. You can get them at like stationery stores, like a binder ring, to clip them together. And then you have a little holder that you can kind of like fan out, like an index card holder basically, and it's a really good way to kind of keep everything together and not messy, and then you can just close it with like a rubber band. So hopefully this is something that a lot of people are able to make with just things they have around. I just used double-sided tape then to go ahead and stick in all of the little watercolor pieces, watercolor cards, and I used a little ruler to press them down just because these are cards covered in paint. So if you press them down with your fingers, you are going to get some paint on your fingers, and no matter what, this is going to be a little bit of a messy process, but it went by pretty quickly. It took me like less than 10 minutes to make this whole thing, something like that. It really didn't take very long. So yeah, if you were wondering on a good way to store these paints, then I hope that this little mini tutorial helped you and that you found it useful. I just thought that I would go ahead and throw that in there before I got to the actual demo, just because I had seen some people questioning about how best to store these. So that's how I did it. So yeah, now in terms of the art, the first thing I had to do, as always, is swatch the paints. Oh, this was so fun. These paints are so pretty, and you can see through the swatches, so many of them dry in really unique ways, especially this purple right here kind of has like some blues and some reds in it, and they were really pretty. They're very pigmented, and I was really excited to work with them, especially after making all these swatches. I was really inspired by so many of the colors, especially the purples, the greens, and these kind of rusty reds that were in the color palette. I loved the color palette. So I decided to basically spray the whole paper with water, and then I just went in without any sketching and decided to paint a floral scene. Like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a bouquet or what, but I just wanted to kind of work intuitively and let the paint flow on the canvas and see what happened. So I started with this rusty red that I was really loving and started creating these flower, almost rose-like shapes and adding in various tones of the reds. And then I wanted to add in some of this purple because I thought it would complement it. So I started to establish some kind of longer shapes that are, I don't know what that type of flower is called, like not the specific, like I know there's like hyacinths and lavender and all of that kind of stuff, but that specific like kind of shape of flower, I don't know if that has like a name, but those taller flowers that are lots of little buds. And at this point, I started adding in just a little bit of shading. It was really loose. It was just blending into the background and blurring into one another, which is exactly what I wanted. Then I added in the greens, adding in some stems and some leaves just to tie everything together and using a mixture of all of those beautiful greens that were in the palette. And I just, every color I used made me so happy. The colors in this are just so beautiful. And then I found this beautiful blue. I actually thought it was purple, and then I was like, oh, this wasn't the color I thought, but I loved how the blue looked. So I went ahead and added in all of these little blue flowers as well. Once I had that established, I went in and added in some more little details. So it's fun to do all these really washy kind of blurry pieces. But I find that what really helps is when you work in layers. So your first layer can be really, really loose and blurry and wet on wet. And then if you go in with a wet on dry or just slightly damper paper, for parts of this, I wet the paper, but not too much. And then you can add in some more defining details, and you can layer as much as you want, obviously. But I think that's a really good way to create these kind of loose images, but also define certain areas. So that's what I did here. Was I went back over with various tones of different reds and purples to kind of suggest certain flowers. I wasn't looking at any reference. I wasn't trying to recreate any specific flower. I was just trying to create floral shapes from what had happened with the wet on wet. And I would definitely recommend anyone who's maybe struggling with art block or unsure about what to draw to try something like this, where you wet the paper and you just start creating shapes and see what comes out of it. For especially like floral arrangements and plants, you can really have so much fun with it, creating these kind of like flower-like shapes. Don't hold yourself to creating something that's like super realistic if you don't want to, because it's just a way to get the paint flowing. So this is me just adding in those details, and I really went for color variation in this just because the colors, like I said, they dried in such a unique and beautiful way. These paints worked really nicely on this paper, and I was able to layer them up without any lifting issues. The colors were really, really, really vibrant, and I also really love these water brushes. I felt like I had a lot of control over them. A lot of times when I'm painting at my desk with water brushes, I will use regular water as well, just to kind of rinse them out between colors. That can be really helpful. But these have already made their way to my travel art supplies bag. I'm a big fan of them. Like I said, I really like that they have an extended barrel. It does make them a little longer for traveling, but I just think it's so much nicer to have that balance and to have that extra water. Once I was done with all of the watercolor, I went in with the white gel pen, my beloved white gel pen, to add in some final details. And I think this is really what made everything pop and come together. And basically, I was just really loose and sketchy, and essentially just kind of sketched on top of this, establishing some details and not like highlights, but also almost like line work, because I'm not really thinking about any specific light source here. I'm more trying to highlight or capture the edges of certain petals and things like that to establish more definition in these flower shapes. So I tried to, add white to maybe where the edges of the petals would be, and the leaves and things like that, add them down the center of the stem. So yeah, that's what I created for this month. I really hope that you like it. I hope that it inspired you, and I hope that I had some good tips in this video that you found helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in getting your own Paletteful packs, there is a link in the description box to the website, so you can check that out. And I can't wait to see everybody's artwork. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.